Hi, I'm Bobby Halton, and welcome to On the Road. We're live right now from FDIC 2008, and I've got my good friend Dan Sheridan from Engine 46 FDNY. Dan, thanks for stopping in on the road. I know you're busy, and you've been teaching for us here.
Right.
We've been riding you like a rented mule.
It's great, though.
So you taught multiple family fires, multiple dwelling fires this time around. How'd it go? Why is that important to firemen to be aware of multiple family dwellings?
Well, I think what I've seen in my time on the job is when I first got on the job, I got assigned to 17 truck, and we were like in the middle of the projects. We call them projects. You know, they're 19-story fireproof multiple dwellings, and I just recall when I got on the job that it wasn't a big event to have a project fire. And what I've seen evolve over the, let's say, the 21 years, the 22 years that I've been fighting these fires, is basically when I got on the job, there were low-income housing, people were on Section 8, welfare, and they didn't have many furnishings. You'd come into the apartment, there'd be a couch and a bed and just a few furnishings, and the fires were pretty much, routine. We'd stretch to 2.5 and sometimes 1 3/4. Hook up on the fire floor, didn't hook up on the fire floor. It never really mattered because the fires never really got going. And what happened, I saw the change. It started happening about 10, 12 years ago, where people just started amassing more things. And I noticed that the fire load started changing. We say the BTUs go up and the GPMs go down, or vice versa. And I noticed the BTUs going up. I noticed a lot more plastics in the apartments. I notice now in these areas that people have more DVD players, computers,
stuff.
Just stuff in general, foam beds and couches, and so now you went from 8,000 to like 18,000 BTUs a pound. And what happened was, I guess, that the fires were just intensifying. The windows would fail, and now we're dealing with like wind-driven fires, and we're still using the same tactics. And we got caught a few times, as we all know. There's a few fires, 96, 98, Vandalia Avenue. And we had to just take a step back and say, wow, we have to just address this. We can't continue doing this nonchalant, taking this kind of nonchalant attitude. And now we're getting these fires, and they're events now. The heavy fire load. I mean, there's many a time I get to the apartment now, and it's like I can't even get in the apartment. I mean, people have stuff lined up in the hallway, sofa beds, couches, and we're getting much hotter fires.
So the fuel loads increased, hotter fires. So you talk about, did tactics have to change then?
Tactics have to change.
Okay.
Some things that we're learning, and I think we've pretty much got it now, is that we have to hook up on the floor below. We have to designate an attack stairway. We have to keep the evacuation stairway closed. We have 2 stairways. One has to be evacuation, one has to be attack. We have to use 2.5. Have to. We have to use smooth bore, 1 1/8. If we don't have control of the apartment door, then we have to charge a line in that stairwell. And then we have to treat that hallway as part of the fire area. And we have to, at all costs, get that fire back in the apartment.
So it's kind of almost a transition to a high-rise scenario versus just a multiple dwelling scenario.
Most definitely, most definitely.
It's
and the wind now is a factor. I mean,
Absolutely.
The wind was always a factor, and now it's becoming even more of a factor with the heavy fuel load.
Increase the fuel load, it's still spread out.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what else did you do while you were here? Did you get to kick around the show much at all?
Yeah. Well, I was kicking around. I was taking some samplings of some of the instructors, just trying to make myself a better instructor, just to try to get off the all-stars,
Well, you had a couple of great articles recently, too. Is there one in the April, or is it coming out in the May? So I know I just saw Danny Sheridan go across my desk the other day.
Yeah, I just did one on concealed spaces.
Oh, yeah,
not confined space, but concealed spaces.
Concealed spaces, yeah.
And again, it kind of ties in with the area that I worked in when I was a firefighter and lieutenant. As you know, everyone knows that the South Bronx had this wave of arson in the 70s. And when I came to the firehouse in '86, it was basically all vacant buildings. We either had project buildings or vacant buildings, and we had, sprinkled in some occupied H-types and tenements, and brownstones. But what had happened in the last probably 15 years is these buildings now are being renovated. And when they renovate the buildings, the voids still exist, and they actually are creating new voids. So now you might have a regular flat, you might have 4 apartments on the floor. They'll put a mini cockloft in that whole, on that whole floor. They may sprinkler it, but the sprinklers only come to the top of the ceiling. So you still have these.
That void is still there.
That void
with
is
all
still
the
there.
combustibles and wiring and such.
Yeah.
Huh.
So,
Huh.
you know, it hasn't become problematic yet, but I see the potential
That's
as
fascinating.
these dwellings age.
What's going on with Mutual Aid America? You still
Mutual
busy
Aid
there?
America is we've slowed down a little bit, but we're regrouping as an organization. We're trying to get more instructors. We're developing more programs. We've done so far in Guayaquil to date in the last 6 years. I think we've trained 200 firefighters to like a firefighter 1 level, and they want more. They want you know, better classes now, and so we're taking a little step back right now just to maybe develop some new courses, vehicle extrication, some high-rise stuff, some more advanced engine ops.
Well, good for
and
you.
whatnot. Yeah, so
Good for you. Well, that's fantastic. Everything else is good?
everything's great. I'm just waiting to get promoted. I've been
Big chief?
chief, hopefully before the summer.
Outstanding. Good
Yeah.
for you. Well, I'll be there for that one.
That'd be great.
I'll be there for Danny, we know you're busy. Thank you for visiting with us
Thanks
here
for
on
having
the
me,
road
yeah.
with Bobby Halton. And I'm Bobby Halton, and be careful out there.